Hello, I'm ETA. Today's video is from Military Research. Shout out to Mark again for another one. This one is titled How Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia are gearing up their armed forces. I'm so excited because I just dropped this one a day ago. So let's just get straight into it.
Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, three countries squeezed between the Baltic Sea and Vladimir Putin's Russia, have gone through a period of massive investment, upgrades and rearmament when it comes to their armed forces, and who can blame them? Russia has always had designs on their land and have treated the people of the Baltic states horrendously for centuries.
These countries have really been investing in their armed forces, very well. So I'm happy that Mark is giving us details today. I know this video is going to be very detailed, so just sit tight, give me a thumbs up, and let's keep going.
In this video, we'll look at how the Baltic states are upgrading their armed forces in order to be able to hold back a possible Russian invasion long enough in order for their NATO allies to intervene. I'm Tuomas, a former officer in the Finnish Defense Forces, and I have the honor of hosting the first video.
Okay, so if you have not noticed, today we have Thomas, a new person that is going to be giving us the dates today, and he works in the Finnish forces, so this is good.
Since Max is preparing for his rotation in Estonia as part of NATO's forward presence there. Lithuania is on a serious mission to beef up its military capabilities. By 2029, they're planning to pump their defense budget up to $2.8 billion. That's a massive jump from $2.1 billion in 2024. When looking at Lithuania's GDP, this will take them up to 4.4% of their GDP spent on defense in 2029. Which will take them level with Poland, who currently hold the top spot within the alliance, and a staggering 1% above what the US spends on their defense. This speaks to the seriousness of the situation that Lithuania and its neighbors find themselves in. Lithuania's
Honestly, it really speaks to their seriousness because the jump is so massive. Can you see these figures?
Focus lies on three critical sectors: land vehicles, missile defense systems, and tactical communication technologies. This multi-pronged approach demonstrates a comprehensive understanding of modern military requirements. On the vehicle front, Lithuania has focused on armored capability. They've invested in 44 brand new Leopard 2A8 main battle tanks from Germany agreed in December 2024, together with an increased spending on both CV-90s, of which they plan to acquire around 100 based on its great success in Ukraine, and a further 27 Boxer IFVs, locally called Vilkas, to add to its 89 already acquired. This means that Lithuania will have one of the most modern armored groupings on NATO's eastern flank. All in all, it takes Lithuania's armor to a total of 44 tanks and around 200 modern infantry fighting vehicles. The buck doesn't stop there, and Lithuania also recently received its last vehicle out of 500 JLTVs from the US. On the air defense front, Lithuania has also severely strengthened its capability. They already possess 2 batteries of NASAMS, but have strengthened this by ordering a further 2 batteries, as well as a big order for Saab's mounted RBS-70NG, which will arrive between 2025 and 27. It is unclear how many systems Sweden will deliver to Lithuania, but we're likely talking about a unit's worth, 8 to 10 firing vehicles and Saab's excellent Giraffe radar to go with this. In order to track aerial targets, they have also invested in several more 64 Sentinel radars for their NASAM systems, as well as an unknown quantity of Thales GM200 counter-battery radars. In the realm of artillery, Lithuania has opted for 2 proven systems. They are set to receive 18 Caesar self-propelled howitzers this year, adding to the 21 Panzerhaubitze 2000s recently acquired from.
Apart from the things that are already on ground, the things that they are expecting, the amount of equipment that they are expecting, massive, really massive.
From Germany. Additionally, Lithuania has placed an order for 8 HIMARS launchers, which the war in Ukraine have proven are one of the most important assets in modern warfare. Perhaps the most exciting developments for the Lithuanian armed forces is their homegrown drone capability. Lithuania have developed both loitering, FPV and ISR drones, like for example the drone in this video, the Špak. Rumors speculate that these are already doing their thing in Ukraine and that the results have been great. Ukraine's use of drones to even out manpower differences is something all 3 nations in the Baltics should focus heavily on, and Lithuania seems to be leading the pack. As we discussed in last week's video about the Finnish special operation against the Russian shadow tanker fleet, which had sabotaged key infrastructure, having helicopters to be able to board tankers is a must for any Baltic Sea nation. Lithuania has 6 Black Hawks on order, scheduled to be delivered sometime in 2025, which will act as a deterrent along their coastline. With all their new purchases, Lithuania is going to be a much harder obstacle to invade. And as we'll speak about later in this video, when you combine the 3 Baltic nations and NATO's forward presence in the area, the force is starting to look quite frightening. Now, let's discuss Estonia.
It definitely looks frightening. Oh.
Like its Baltic neighbors, Estonia has significantly increased its defense spending. In 2015, Estonia allocated about 2% of its GDP to defense. By 2024, this figure had risen to an impressive 3.4%. This increase makes Estonia the second highest spender on defense as a percentage of GDP within NATO, just behind Poland. Estonia expects to get over 4% spent on GDP by 2026, meaning that they'll be near the top in NATO overall. The money has been well invested, with a focus on armored warfare, and since around 2020, Estonia have received and refurbished a large quantity of both CV-90 and Patria Pasi. Uniquely, the Estonian Defense Forces have gone for the Turkish-made Otokar Arma as their modern APC and have already started taking delivery of their 130 units. In the deal with Turkey, they also bought 100 of the Nurul Yörük, a competitor to the Humvee. I'm not that well versed in these Turkish vehicles, but it is important to note that Turkey has a very long history of experience from conflicts, so there's no reason to think that these vehicles are much worse than their Western competitors. Ideally, I would have probably liked Estonia to go for more Finnish gear due to the proximity to Finland, but I'm sure Estonia got some leverage out of it. In the artillery department, the Estonian Defense Forces have a modern capability in line with Lithuania, with 36 K9 Thunders currently operational. And as with Lithuania, they have 12 Caesars and 6 HIMARS systems currently being delivered. For a nation of only a bit over 1 million, that is some hefty firepower. And for example, more active artillery pieces than Sweden, Norway and Denmark. As with Lithuania, Estonia is at the forefront of unmanned development, among other things with their Themis unmanned ground vehicle, famously seen in Ukraine firing machine guns and rocket launchers, as well as planting mines several kilometers behind enemy lines. The Estonian Defense Forces have an undisclosed number of these, and in my opinion is an area where a small nation like Estonia can really offset its manpower disadvantages. The idea for using ground drones for launching aerial drones seemed to have been developed first by Milrem Robotics, and using drones to launch FPV or surveillance drones is a tactic that is extremely effective. Ukraine has used the exact same tactic with both its naval, air and ground drones, and Milrem's involvement in the ground development cannot be understated. As with ground capability, Estonia also develops very good aerial drones, which their armed forces is constantly receiving more of. A great example of this is the many drones produced by Triod Systems, which can be launched from atop the Themis. The Ukrainians and Estonians are also working closely together in several FPV drone projects, so there's likely a lot more to come from them.
They have a lot of ongoing drone projects, and this drone looks like masterpieces, I can't even lie.
In this sector. In the air defense department, Estonia and Latvia have gone together to procure an Iris-T system containing several launchers and command points, which seems logical. It is expected to go live this year. Seen in retrospect, it would probably have been a good idea to go for the NASAMS, as Lithuania already operates this. There is no doubt that the systems can work well together, as seen in Ukraine, but training and maintenance could have been done in cooperation if all three had the same systems. For its short-range air defense, Estonia have gone for the very capable French Mistral 3 Shorad. Again, if I was a skeptic, I'd say that it would be good if all 3 Baltic states went for the same systems. And considering that Lithuania has gone for the Saab version, this could make a collective defense of these 3 nations more complex than it needs to be. But I'm sure there are more clever heads than mine working on this. Moving on to Latvia, the trend is similar to the other 2 Baltic states. They've gone from investing below 1% of their GDP in 2015 to over 3.4% expected in 2025. In the same manner as their neighbors, this will take them to the top 4 of overall spenders per GDP in NATO, along with Poland. Latvia expects to increase their defense budgets in the coming years, but have not committed to a number. I expect them to end up around where their neighbors are, at around 4%. Surprisingly, Latvia has gone for the Spanish-Austrian Ascot II as their modern IFV to replace their older CVR vehicles. They haven't disclosed how many of these they are going to buy, but I suspect that we'll see something like 100 pieces delivered to Latvia. The Ascot is a largely unproven platform, but both Latvia and the UK have gone for it, so I might be proven wrong. Ideally, Latvia would go for a vehicle that their neighbors possesses like the CV90 or Boxer, but I'm sure there are politics at play as to why the Ascot was chosen. Furthermore, Latvia is co-producing their own Patria 6x6 fleet with Finland, which will take their total up to somewhere around 250 pieces. And judging by this vehicle's success in Ukraine, that is a very wise choice for Latvia. Not only is it a battle-proven platform, but it is used to operating in the kind of wooded marshy terrain that both Finland and the Baltic states largely consists of. In the artillery department, Latvia still operates around 50 of the trusty M109 and have also ordered 6 HIMARS from the US. As mentioned previously, Latvia and Estonia have gone together to buy an IRIS-T air defense system containing several batteries as well as several modern radars like the Saab Giraffe and a German Hensoldt radar for their new air defense system. With kit out of the way, let's look at how the 3 Baltic states will line up personnel-wise. When we did a summary on the operational quantities of kit and weaponry in the Baltic nations early in 2024, the totals looked like this. The plan from all 3 nations have changed. By 2028, Latvia plans to call up 7,500 recruits for the army alone every year. This will increase the armed forces by a considerable amount and likely mean an army in the size of 50 to 70,000 with reserves included. For Lithuania, the plans are similar. However, there is a bigger emphasis on professional soldiers there, and the plan is to have 14,500 active soldiers by 2030, on top of their extensive irregular and reserve formations. In Estonia, the plan is to have as many as 36,000 high-readiness troops and reserves, as well as continuing to build to their impressive pool of over 200,000 reserves and irregulars. Essentially, this means that, like Finland, almost half of all military-age men in Estonia are involved with the armed forces. All in all, in these 3 states with only 6 million inhabitants in total, there will be somewhere around 450,000 personnel with military training. To put it bluntly, that is a staggering amount for 3 relatively tiny nations on the global scale, and speaks volumes about their historic experiences with Russia. In another episode, we'll talk about NATO's forward presence in these 3 nations, which takes the total active soldiers and gear in the Baltic states alone to a level which is rarely seen anywhere else in the alliance. If I was Vladimir Putin, I'd think very carefully before attempting anything against these 3 very serious opponents. And better yet, down south, a growing Polish regional power sits, and just across the Gulf of Finland, Europe's largest reserve army sits ready. This was my first time presenting a whole video on our channel, and I hope you liked it. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, actually, this is the first time Thomas is making the full video. Normally, Mark would say some things and then he says just a short part of it. But this was nice. Honestly, if you're planning war or anything, any attack against Lithuania, Estonia, or Latvia, just know that these nations are not playing. You better, it's the perfect time to change your mind now and just back down, because these people are really gearing up against their armed forces. This video is so impressive because it's so detailed. We've got to know about all the equipment that they're getting, the ones they've gotten. Look at the drones, look at how technical those things are. This is so nice. Shout out to Mark for this video. Thank you so much, Thomas, for today's own. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, please give me a big thumbs up if you learned 1 or 2. Please comment down below. Subscribe if you're yet to do that, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.